1991 to 1994, when I lived in the archives in Ridgely, I would arrive at 9 in the morning, grey boxes would be put in front of me, and I would start digging in. Dave and Serge had usually got them ready the night before, and then I would feel a tap on my shoulder, and it would be Serge or Dave saying, "We're closing now, Phil." And well, I'd only just got here, which is how it felt. The history, as you know, it's a wonderful place to visit. They do things differently there. But what I gradually came to realize in using the archives when I was researching Acre of Time is that we have neighbors in time as well as in space, and that there are the record of their lives. The people that have used Ottawa, as we now use Ottawa, are a neighborhood, and it stretches back through time and will stretch into the future. And there are neighbors yet to come who will be in this building long after we have finished using it. I suppose I'm here in a sense also to represent the many thousands of people who have plundered the archives in order to produce, add to the written and oral history of Ottawa. So I'm actually, before I sing to you, just to soften you up, I'm going to read you a little bit from An Acre of Time, which actually I had not realized until this morning. I remembered that I'm in the archives in the book. This is, you'll realize which building I'm referring to. It's a short drive from the snowbound Acre to the City of Ottawa Archives, a schoolish, quiet building near the Rideau River. It houses the civic memory, including the street directories for the last 95 years, now 105. After I settle at a large, warm wooden desk in the archives, I start pulling down directories from the shelf one by one, year by year, commencing with 1901. Each year is slightly fatter than the one before it as the city gains weight. The directory for 1901 has become a book of the dead, while the most recent directory catalogues the grid of the living. As I open them and turn to the sections of the streets that begin with D, Division, Dolly Varden, Dufferin, and then Duke, the directories reveal the occupants of the acre as they came and went through history's turnstile. The street numbers from 1 to 101 ran down the side, and the corresponding names climb like a set of rungs from past to present. It is tempting to fictionalize this dry regiment of records as my finger runs down them, to take these anonymous names and give them lives and details. For instance, the 1910 street directory indicates that a Jean Quintin was living at 39 Duke Street. A year later, the ominous description vacant sits beside the same number. Murder most foul? A heart broken here and mended elsewhere? How many of these names on the page went off to the World War and fell? Or did they fall right here during the Depression, economic retreat? Couplings and partings, illnesses and accidents, the cries of childbirth, the grunts of orgasm, the sighs of death. The acre wore these lives like changes of clothes, as it wore the successive shelters that housed them, the poker-faced three-story brick and wood dwellings, the warehouses, and the offices. To get to the acre's story now, we have to go through the front doors of Duke Street, for life in the 20th century, more than any previous century, is largely lived indoors. I love this bit of the investigation, sluicing through the paperwork for clues, sitting down with people and plundering their memories. We're within range of living memory now. I feel like a detective from the other end of a century. It's the next best thing to time travel, to the land of was. It feels like the wish to step forward that comes over you when you stand on the edge of a cliff. A wish to step out into time and to free fall, which is what I hope many of us will be doing here. There are two lines running under any city. There's the melody line and the bottom line. This building is very much concerned with both, but for me it's concerned with the melody line of the history of songs about Ottawa written by Ottawans, and I'm going to give you one now. This also came out of the research that I did in the archives. It's about the Great Fire of 1900. If you want to know more about the Great Fire of 1900, there's plenty of You've got noisemakers at the end of your arms and legs if you want to use them. I like that. Ottawa, April 1900. First spring of the century. Sunshine and a warm breeze blowing, live sparks from mother's chimney. Fire soon begat fire, running hard from roof to roof. Across the river on the flatland, the wind in their faces tells the truth. Hell is a-comin', it's coming this way. It's a day of reckoning, record we better break. 1 p.m. the flats caught fire, wild-eyed horses in the street. More fire than firemen, the air full of ashes and defeat. So your house and home abandoned, put your back to what used to be, and head for the cool high ground. Down here there is only destiny. And the Great Fire of 1900, it burns on and on and on. And the Great Fire of 1900, it burns on and on, it burns on and on, burns on and on and on. That's you. Next time. Down the map to the open fields, rich and poor homes took blaze, till a line of blackened citizens put an end to the fire's rage. Paupers and prime ministers watched the blaze from on high, as the orange died to destruction. The scorched earth gave a great sigh. 3 miles long, half a mile wide. 3,000 homeless, somehow only 7 died. Here we go. And the Great Fire of 1900, it burned on and on and on. And the Great Fire of 1900, it burned on and on, burned on and on, it burned on and on and on. Next day in the nearby church, the homeless prayed again. Even as the flats began to rise from the ashes of what might have been. Just a page now in your history book, an inch of ash below ground. The flame never really died that day, it just moved to another part of town. Here we go. And the Great Fire